Hey guys, Drewski here, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about Fallout 76, because Fallout 76 is the first in the series to have multiplayer. That right there is going to make a lot of people go, whoa, this is a lot different from your standard Fallout game, and I agree. I've played since Fallout 2 all the way up to Fallout 4 now, and every single game has been single player, until now. Fallout is going into a multiplayer experience, and it's going into a method of multiplayer that I'm really interested about, and honestly sounds awesome. First off, this game is set the earliest of any Fallout game so far, of any Fallout knowledge so far. This is going to be the earliest setting after the bombs fell. This is going to be only 25 years after the bombs fell, which was like 2077 or something like that. So we're in the early 2100s, I believe. When you emerge out of Vault 76, you're greeted with an entirely new rendering system, new lighting and landscape technology. Apparently the landscape itself is going to have 16 times the detail. I don't know exactly what that means. I bet it's going to have more foliage, more clutter. I'm also guessing that the view distance is going to be much farther as well, as this is going to be a multiplayer game. You're going to have to be able to scout people out at farther distances, and it's going to have more combat sort of approach to the overall rendering of the game. And so when it's a multiplayer experience, it's a little bit different than having enemies just spawn in, you know, 100 or 200 yards away from you and having nothing past that. You're going to have an open world where people might be miles away. Apparently the map size is considerably larger than Fallout 4. Some people are saying 2 to 4 times the size of Fallout 4's map, as well as you are going to also have server-side distant weather systems visible. So let's say the neighbors up in the northeast are having some big heavy storm happening. If you're in the southwest and you're in clear daylight, you're going to be able to see that storm happening to the northeast. Kind of sounds like a Sea of Thieves sort of thing. Fallout 76 is going to be entirely online, and again, the single player is optional. If you want to play it solo, you can. And you can play and finish and progress through the entire game, and as well as if you progress in single player, you'll also be progressing in multiplayer, so it's seamless. If you go from single player to multiplayer, you'll have the same gear, the same weapons, the same progression, the same level, etc. Nothing is lost by playing single player, which is nice. If you want to play the game without some salty punks wrecking your base or something, then you can do so. What Todd Howard said is that the game is softcore survival. What I'm guessing that means is that Fallout 76 is not going to be like Rust, where you start out naked on a beach with a rock and that's all you have to build yourself up. You're going to probably start this game with some basic supplies, as well as food and water are most likely not going to be a necessity. It's most likely going to play like standard Fallout gameplay, where food and water aren't necessary for you to live, but they do, let's say, add to your health if your health is low.
How many wheels of cheese do I have left?
473.
Okay, I eat all the cheese. I eat all of the cheese.
I mean, just think of playing a Fallout game, but also making it where you have to be on your toes at all times because other players are also in the area. This would make it a lot more realistic and a lot more immersive, not just a person versus environment game where you can turn down the difficulty and not be scared at all. This is going to make it really hardcore because you now have to be wary of other survivors in the area. This could make large-scale combat be very interesting because you could have a firefight that lasts 30 minutes between you and a rival faction because the area is so big. You have the possibility to go on flanking routes, to go on sneak attacks, to wait until nighttime until ambushing their base or something. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities here that the game is going to allow you to do. Apparently there's dozens of players and servers, and those servers are going to be dedicated, so it's not peer-to-peer. You're going to be working off of a server that should have pretty good networking. I'm guessing it's going to be pretty easy to do this as well, because I am most definitely guessing that the servers will be maximum maybe 24, maybe 32 players. I mean, Todd Howard said in every server will be dozens of players, so we don't really know how much that means. I'm going to guess 24, because that would mean that 6 groups of 4 players could be playing in one match at a time. And additionally, what's very interesting is that this entire area has very few rules that the players have to abide by. You can hop in the game with your squad and do whatever you want. It's almost like a Sea of Thieves sort of thing, but with content instead. You can team up with your 3 friends, you can build camps wherever, you can move camps wherever you want. The environment, aka like the animals and enemies that are in the environment, can come and attack your camp and destroy objects in your camp. There'll be quests to do, and usually with the Fallout games, quests are pretty good at making themselves complex and not repetitive and such. As well as one big player scenario on the map is that there are multiple nuclear missiles all over the locations on the map. So if you gain the codes hidden in the map, you might have to team up with other players though, but you might be able to get a nuke activated and be able to send it wherever you want on the entire map. So let's say there's a bandit gang that's just destroying everybody, running around, making a mess, and you know where their home base is. You follow them back to their base, you've scouted them out, you know where they live. Well, you can drop a nuke on any point in the map. How, like, After you drop nukes on certain points in the map, that area will become a fallout zone, and you can go and get high-grade materials inside that zone. This, oh my gosh, it just sounds so good. It's almost like a AAA game company is going into a large-scale survival scenario, but also they have the lore and the core game experience to back it up. I mean, I can just imagine the mechanics that are going on in the background, like power armor usage and how that's going to work in like PvP multiplayer. Isn't that going to be sweet? If they've got VoIP in the game so that you can talk to other people directly without having to like type or just do emotes and such, that's going to be extremely cool as well. Being able to communicate with other players, being able to team up with them to fight maybe a bigger group of players, being able to hear gunshots in the distance like DayZ sort of style. I honestly think that that is one of the most intriguing sort of game types out there when you're in an open world area and you don't know where the other players are, and you know that people are scouting out and scouring places and looting and gaining supplies and gaining power in certain areas, and you just don't know where they are. Eventually you find a certain player or you find their base and you go, wow, they've been here the whole time, and then you're able to focus your forces to attack them or either befriend them if you have another enemy force you want to go kill. I think that there's just a lot of awesome PvP elements that might come into this game. And also, I mean, this is a huge tangent off of a standard Fallout game. And it's good that Todd Howard mentioned, you can play this game fully, all the way from 0 to 100 solo. You can do this all by yourself, and it will play and act like a standard Fallout game. And that's a really, really cool thing. I mean, having the ability to build camps wherever you want and, drop nukes wherever you want as a solo player will still be useful. But I also think that with this jump into a totally different direction for Fallout, this might bring one of the potentially best Fallout games we've ever played if this is done right. And this is something that's very hard to do right. It's a multiplayer game. This is a multiplayer game for a game series that's never been multiplayer before. So this is going to be one of the biggest challenges Bethesda has yet, but I trust that they can really pull it off. And I think that there's going to be a lot of post-launch content that'll most likely fix a lot of the problems that players are going to have. And also they're having a beta for the first time for a Fallout game, which is good that it's a multiplayer game and it's going to have a beta. That's a good sign. I really do think that people shouldn't underestimate this game because, again, I just have a good feeling about it. I really do think that this is a great idea for the Fallout franchise, and I'm really excited to see where it goes. Well, alrighty guys, that'll be the video for today. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I'll be covering a little bit more of this game as more info comes out, and also when the beta comes out, we'll definitely try to hop on as fast as we can to getting as much footage out for you guys as possible. I'm definitely really excited to see where this goes. I'll see you guys in the next one.